What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So today is Tuesday. I know the video is coming out just a little bit late today, but I'm sure you've already heard about the Tron situation, right? With what's happening with Justin Sun, and they had to cancel the launch or at least postpone it, right? So yeah, well, I have a plane ticket and I was supposed to go to that. I'm still going, but there's no event, so I'm just going to be hanging out in San Francisco with a bunch of people. So if you guys are around, definitely stop by, but that's none between here and there. Basically, long story short, here I am making a video for you guys anyway, but I had a busy morning, so that is the situation. We are down 3% on the Bitcoin chart. Yesterday, we were talking about this. We were saying it was a little bit of an indecisive moment, right? A lot of people were sort of just holding off on making any trades until we had a trend that was actually taking place, either up or down. Unfortunately, a lot of the signals were pointing down. We had the death cross, right, on the 4 hour, so that happened. But I want to talk about where we could be going price-wise short term. Long term, you guys know I am bullish on Bitcoin. We're going to the moon. But short term, there could be some choppy water. So what I want to do today is actually look back previously when we had similar situations and see how it may play out. And I do have some price targets that we could look at to give us a better idea of where we could be headed short term, right? So if that sounds good to you, I also have some other good news as well, talking about some futures in the institution. So if that sounds good, you know what to do. Also, if it's your first time checking out the Crypto Zombie channel and you're not subscribed yet, well, you're missing out on daily updates every single day, weekends, even when I'm busy, because I freaking love you guys. And yesterday we did give away the Ledger Nano S, but don't worry, we give away one every week. And if you missed out, all you gotta do is drop a comment on any video throughout the course of the week and you are eligible. Now, let me give this a quick refresh live. Bitcoin dominance has gone up a small percentage, although we have seen it sitting a little bit higher today. You are noticing the top coins all down in red. Market cap well below the $300 billion level we were at, sitting around $272 billion. We do have some gainers today, though, so not everything is in the red. Crypto.com doing well. Hedge Trade, Monocoin, Lisk, V Systems, Ren, U Network, Komodo, and Maker. But unfortunately, you'll notice the top losers of the day are Tron and BitTorrent, and obviously that has to do with the news that came out, which I'll get into in just a bit later. What's interesting, though, is still having a look at these altcoins down from their all-time high, and you can see it's kind of like a nice little slider here, and you could see most of them, and these blues being the all-time low, many of them are still very, very close. IOTA is still very close to its all-time low. NEM, Tezos is relatively new, but you have Neo, Cardano, Bitcoin Cash. Some of the other ones that are higher up, obviously, we have Bitcoin, Binance, Bitcoin SV, surprisingly, Chainlink, and Cosmos. But yeah, and by the way, this is from Datalight. I do like the charts that these guys put together. So it still is a long road for some of these altcoins. I mean, even Bitcoin still has a bit of a ways to get back to the all-time high that we were at right now. Currently, it's not a very good day in the markets. A lot of people are selling. The shorts are very high today at 52.21%. Now, obviously, there always is a chance for a short squeeze. Price action could go through the roof. But, you know, overall, given the indications and what the overall sentiment is, it is very negative right now. Now, we do have two potential triangles. We have this bigger one and this smaller one. Whatever one you want to look at, currently we found ourselves right here in this tiny little area where we were literally getting crushed between, it was actually two resistances sort of forming. We had this one that had started from all the way back here and this little one right here. And obviously Bitcoin just didn't know what to do and we fell and fell. And currently we're even lower than the $9,981 level of this box, which means we could be going lower into this bigger triangle. Let me just give you a different perspective, okay? This is a little bit simpler to look at. You can see right here, this resistance has really been keeping down the price of Bitcoin if you exclude this little exuberant run-up that we had right here. So the next support level would be what was holding us back starting basically around May 11th. You could see it helped us when we came all the way down from the top when we had that massive plummet, right? So chances are it could still support us if we were to fall down. This is what I said yesterday. We would still be looking at around a $9,300 Bitcoin, right? Now keep in mind, this is all short term. It doesn't mean like, that's it guys, we're going back down to 3,000. No, that's not the case. But short term, we could be looking at going lower. Now, I do want to talk about how there is a potential chance of manipulation, and we're going to get into that in just a second. But before I do, we've been looking at this. This is there's different channels that we could be looking at, right? One is this one right here, which Bitcoin has been respecting it. Some of the wicks have been falling down a little bit lower, but as you guys know, this is still showing a downwards trend that could take us down to $8,000. Do I think that will go to 8,000? I'm leaning more towards the 8,500, but you guys know anything is possible. Another way you could look at it is we've put in this descending broadening wedge, and you'll notice now that we've had enough price action, we actually have this middle dotted line right here, which you'll notice we're now on top of. So we're actually on more of the bearish side of the descending wedge, if that makes any sense, okay? But having a look at that, that still is the situation. We're very far from the blue box region. We still need to get above 10,700 to really, well, for me to consider this to be back into, bull territory, right? Even though the overall trend is bullish, but there are some indicators that we can look at right here. Now, here's something that we've had. Now, there's a few things I want to show you on this chart. First thing I want to show you is this trend that we've had. Now, this is the trend. It's on the log view chart that we've had all the way back here. We've spoke about this multiple times on the channel. I'm not going to go into it, but you could see that Bitcoin has respected this trend. It was resistance way back here. Once it got above it, February 11th, roughly, around that time, actually it was a little bit before that. It was actually January 30th, roughly, of 2013. That trend maintained support for literally years. The last time we fell below it was just recently when we had that catastrophic 50% fall that we had in November, and we are currently sitting back above it again. So that is number one that I'm looking at. Number two that I'm looking at is this yellow line right here, which is the 55 EMA, and this is on the daily, okay? And if you notice right here, it actually does give us a little bit of indication as to what happens every time we breach this. Now, I'm not going to look at it in a bear trend because I don't believe we're in a bear trend. I'm going to look at it in a bull trend because I believe we're in a bull trend. So let's start from the trend that we had. I'm not going to go back that far. Let's just go back to... Here we go, right here. How about the end of 2016, right before 2017 when we kind of really got that momentum going, right? Actually, let's take this drop. This is a good drop right here. So this is the first time that we fell below it, right? And I want to look at what happens every time Bitcoin falls below the 55 EMA. So first time we fell below it was back here on July 31st. Now, do you guys want to look at the wicks or do you want to look at the actual candles? Because granted, this is on the daily. So on the daily, we wicked all the way down 26%. So you can take that if you want. Like if you were doing a leverage, right? If you were, say you were longing Bitcoin, you might have got liquidated, right? But we did close out at about 15% on the daily. So take it with a grain of salt, guys, however you want to look at it. But on this, when we fell roughly, 15%, and if you want to count the wick, 26%, okay? Now, let's look at some other times we fell below it. Some of the more major times right here, we have, let's see, this time we fell below, we put in 10%, okay? Now, keep in mind, the farther away that we get from this purple trend line, the farther we have to fall if we go under the 55 EMA. I'm going to show you what I mean in a second. See how we're very close to this right here? So we fell below it right here, and you could see we put in, roughly, if you're going to go by the wick, about a 17% fall, right? But if we go over here, we put in, let's see, a 23% fall. So you notice that sometimes the farther we get from this supporting trend, the bigger the amount that we fall, right? Here's another one that we put in right here, and you can see that was about 22%. Here's another one that we put in, hold on. Oh, no, that was it, guys. Actually, that was it. Now we're back in the downtrend. So I would say on average, we could say somewhere between 15 to 25%. You guys want to just make that an average and say about 20%, right? So if we can expect a 20% fall, roughly, the interesting thing about that is from this position right here, if we were to fall below it, 20% would bring us, well, a little bit below, about 19% would bring us to this resistance that we had back here, all right? So that's a possibility, but here's the other thing. Here's our trend line. You see what I'm saying? So considering in the past we usually don't fall below this trend line, well, then that would say that if we were to fall down instantly, you might be looking at another 16% fall for Bitcoin, which would put us around $8,200, which would clearly close the CME gaps, right? Now, A simpler way you can look at it, I kind of just charted it like this so it's a little bit less complex, is just looking at the support that we had back here and the support that we had back here. You're looking at this channel, and this X is around that $8,500 level. And the only reason that I'm saying about here is because realistically, I don't think Bitcoin's just going to take a nosedive all the way down, right? Realistically, we're going to be putting in something, you know, I have no idea, but it might be something kind of like this. You know, we go down, we might touch this line, come back above it, you know, whatever, and work our way sort of into this X where we might wick down slightly, but then I would imagine there'd be a pretty big correction. We'd probably have sort of a V-shaped bounce, right? So I do have my eyes on that, and I'm still thinking that it is something to play in the cards. Now, the other thing we want to look at, the other really important exponential, and this is the one on the weekly, this is the 21. Now this one, it seems to be respecting even a lot more. So if we go back all the way to basically when we started, when it actually showed up on the chart, which was back in, first time we ever had it was May 4th of 2015. So you could see, well, I'm sorry, the chart's getting a little crazy right here. But you can see that we've respected this trend right here. You know, you can see above my head, it's still respected, it's still being respected, still being respected. We're still being respected all through the bear market. And finally, we wick down on the week of January 15th, where then we do start to fall below it. And you can see we do put in a bear trend. And that bear trend, once we fell below it, you know, if you want to count the wick, or if you want, I mean, like I said, it doesn't really matter. If you want to count the solid candles, we can count the solid candles. But essentially, we stayed below there for about 427 days. So yeah, and you can see right here, if we were to fall down to it, that is showing an $8,147 level. Now, if you do believe that we are in an uptrend, which I do believe we're in an uptrend, I still believe this is a bull market, I still believe that the trend is your friend, then I would say the absolute lowest we would go is around the $8,147 level. Not to say that what happened in the past has to happen again. Things can change, right? These are just charts. They only tell us where we've been. They don't tell us where we're going. But if I had to guess, and if I had to make a gamble, I would say we're not falling below $8,100. In fact, we'll most likely get supported by $8,500. Now, here is the interesting thing I wanted to talk about, which is potential manipulation. So this is an article that came out from Trust Nodes, and don't go anywhere because I'm going to show you how this actually plays out in something interesting as well. So they say it's the last Friday of the month, and as per tradition, Bitcoin fell about 5% to just under $10,000. Now, no, it's not Friday today, but the Friday that's coming up is the last Friday of the month. There's no more Fridays in the month of July, right? So interestingly enough, they say that ahead of Bitcoin's futures expiry, Bitcoin tends to fall by about $1,000. It did so on Friday of April and May and June, with it usually dropping on a Thursday after 4 p.m. Now, obviously, we're having a drop a little bit earlier, so does this mean we can expect something bigger to happen? It's possible, but here's the thing. Many suspect manipulation with the recent slight fall in the price, perhaps being some sort of front running in expectation of Wall Street shenanigans, but will history repeat itself? Now, here is the kicker, and here's the thing that after I read this article, it just blew my mind. Now, you guys know we've been analyzing the market cipher indicator, right? I've been using this on some of the lower time frames and some of the higher time frames as well, but mostly just as a guideline comparing to traditional and to the cipher. Well, look what we put in, okay? And this was just last night into this morning. We have 1, 2, 3 yellow X's. Now, if you go over to the indicator chart, yellow X's are manipulation. It means something weird is happening in the charts that doesn't seem to make sense. It seems out of the ordinary, right? And oddly enough, just this morning, we put in 3 X's. So the question is, are we being intentionally manipulated so that we fill these gaps? I mean, is this intentional? It's very possible. You know, don't forget, cryptocurrencies is a very, very small ecosystem. There's not a lot of money. I mean, these market caps are very low, and big whales can move these very easily, unfortunately. And we do know that to be the situation. So, you know, having a look at these CME futures gaps, obviously this is the trend from back here, but I'm actually just going to take that trend out because I don't really think it matters, especially when we're discussing manipulation, right? So this one is the sort of, we don't know if this one was closed or not, because if we put it on the daily, it doesn't show up. But this is the Bitcoin CME futures gap that we've been talking about. So could we potentially be going down to this $8,500 level? Well, if we're being manipulated and if we're having all of these signs on the charts, then it is possible. But also don't forget, a lot of people are expecting this. Now, let me just show you really quick why the bottom, and I have sort of this top. Also, you see there's two colors. Let me just show you why real quick, because if we switch to the daily, you'll notice if we zoom in, it actually shows this gap got filled on the daily, so that's why I'm not looking at it. And also over here, you can see that this gap, which is actually above us, which is good. That tells us that we probably have to go back up at some point, right? It looks like most of it got filled, so really it only goes up to the $11,354 level. But I just wanted to show you guys that and give you an idea of some of the levels. Now, as far as the higher levels go, we've talked about it on the channel. You guys know all of my levels going up, right? 11,700 is a really big, not psychological, but it's a really big level for us too. So that is just what I wanted to say moving forward, guys. Also, here's the interesting thing. Nouriel Roubini, Dr. Doom, he says, brilliant keynote by Larry Summers at the 75 Bretton Woods Anniversary Conference. And to quote him, he said, gold is 1% of global wealth and all crypto is 5% the size of gold. So crypto is about 0.05% of world wealth, and that is just about right. So when you really think about only 0.05% of the crypto, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so small. We're so early, guys. Of course, Dr. Doom says, in my view, that's 0.05% too much when crypto is worth less than zero, coming from the man who gets literally paid to trash talk Bitcoin. But that being said, yeah, the space is very, very small, guys. We are very early, and it's these volatile moments, it's these early days with Bitcoin going all over the place when the most money can be made, and also when the best opportunity to dollar cost average is here. Because once Bitcoin does get to these insanely high levels and it doesn't become volatile anymore and it just sort of, becomes boring, well, then a lot of the chances to really make the big money is gone. So now is the opportunity, and you guys know it's not all just about money. I care about the fundamentals, but I also know a lot of people want to make some money, right? So now is the time to be looking. Now is not the time to be panic selling unless, you're using your rent money, which I hope you're not. But I wanted to talk about some other things that are happening in the background. We talked about Fidelity, right? Well, they're reportedly applying for a trust license from the New York Department of Financial Services. You may not think this is a big deal, but New York does have a lot to say, believe it or not. I know, as a citizen. So if granted, it could help expand the presence of institutional investors in the crypto space. The pending trust license let the company add New York to a selection of states where the custody business operates, or at least it would. Fidelity Investments, here's the thing, administers more than 7.2 trillion in client assets and processes more than 1.3 million trades daily. But while everybody was talking about Bakkt and everybody was panicking about the price, guess who launched a futures platform while no one was paying attention? TD Ameritrade. Look at that. No one even knew it happened, right? They silently launched this in the background, and you could see that basically they have a new trading option which uses the CME's Bitcoin futures, and it does require investors to have $25,000 in their account, but it says that they currently have 1.27 trillion in assets under management, so 1.27 trillion from TD Ameritrade, 7.2 trillion from Fidelity. Bakkt is testing. I mean, you guys really, really think Bitcoin's just going to end up crashing? We're going to put in lower lows. The bottom's not in. Come on, think about it realistically. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was some manipulation happening in the background so that maybe these guys could scoop it up a little bit cheap before it inevitably explodes. Like, I'm pretty sure if you're watching this channel, you would agree with me. We are definitely going to the moon. And if you don't believe me, look at the amount of crypto derivatives markets that have absolutely exploded lately. It's 20 times the size of the underlying spot Bitcoin market, right? You have CoinFlex that came out. They say more and more hedge funds and more financial experts realize that there is an opportunity in the space. This means more volume going through derivatives exchanges, more liquidity coming to the overall ecosystem. So it's just a very interesting feedback loop. And although I do have my things against futures. I don't like that you can short Bitcoin, although I understand that a lot of people can make money. I don't personally like to short Bitcoin that much. It's not, I feel really dirty doing it. I just don't like it. But yeah, it's an option. It's not great. It does, sometimes they create paper Bitcoins. But what's great about things like Bakkt with physically settled ones is that you actually need to have the underlying asset. You have Ledger X, Eris X, right? They got their what was it there? DCO. You have OKX, BitMEX, Bybit, right? Bitfinex, Kraken Futures. That's also offering leverage up to 50x as well. So this is definitely massive, and this has allowed a lot of traders to be able to get into the space. And while the altcoins are not performing, and you can only dollar cost average so much, well, these derivatives exchanges like Bybit, which you guys know is my favorite. I mean, I think at this point it's pretty obvious. I really like Bybit. Yeah, it's provided opportunities to long and short Bitcoin, as long as you're not being stupid and using 100x leverage, because if you do, you deserve to lose all your money. And I don't even know why these guys offer it that high. But that being said, it just goes to show you the massive, massive interest. And by the way, if you guys are not familiar with Bybit, I do have a video that I put out, a tutorial, and I do have a referral link below. It does help the channel out. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to use it, but you do get a $10 bonus if you want. But yeah, guys, this is massive, and this is seriously, seriously growing. It's growing, guys, and the herd is coming. Most of them are here, but when the stampede finally comes, I mean, there's no stopping this thing, right? So let's talk about what's going on. That's my situation. That's what I'm telling you. I hope you guys understand that this is just a correction. Yes, we can go down another 20%. It is possible, but the trend is your friend. This is not a downtrend. It's just a correction. Let's talk about Justin Sun and Tron and the event that I'm going to that doesn't exist anymore. So basically, there's been some stuff that came out. It was 21st Century Business Herald published an article on Tuesday that was accusing Justin Sun of illegal fundraising via his Tron project, right? They also said that multiple sources say that he is currently inside of mainland China. So long story short, there's some accusations that basically said that the Tron network operated illegal gambling services that are accessible to Chinese residents and further took aim at Sun's early setup. I think it's called Paiwo, or I don't know how to say it, social network, right? So that's one situation. But he came out and basically said that he had to postpone it and delay it because he has kidney stones, I believe. So now a lot of people are saying, what's going on? Who's telling the truth? What's happening? This has a lot to do with why you're seeing the price of, Tron, falling 20% today. So having a look at basically what happened over here, you could see there was this tweet that came out, and obviously I can't read that, but essentially it says it's been reported that Justin Sun was issued an exit ban by China's Ministry of State Security and is currently under investigation for money laundering, Ponzi fraud, etc. How can Justin have lunch with Buffett when he isn't even allowed to leave China? Now, actually, I thought this was interesting. This comment right here, this guy says the ban leaked yesterday and today Sun came up with the kidney stones story. The way I see it, if you were Buffett and you discovered that you will lunch with Justin Sun or any crypto maximalist, you will do everything to cancel it using your connections. Just a thought. So that's a potential conspiracy as well. But that's not really what I'm here to talk about today. You can see this is Justin Sun. He did have a public post. I translated it over in Google Translate. I'm not going to read it all to you. But the most important things was he said the network communication dialogue pictures are not true. He said the illegal network fundraising was not true. After the four ministries issued the regulatory requirements on September 4th, 2017, the Tron actively cooperated. Essentially, they refunded the investors. The net money laundering is not true. The Wavefield Foundation is located in Singapore and conforms to the local laws and regulations of Singapore. And he also said the Wavefield protocol is a decentralized internet protocol. Anyone can participate in the development of the agreement in any country, yada, yada, yada. The Wavefield Foundation acts as the initiator of the agreement. At the same time, it also calls on application developers to comply with the laws. So he has a rebuttal. I don't know. Does anybody know what's going on? I mean, right now, we're just kind of taking two different stories. We got kidney stones versus, being held on an exit ban. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think he is being held against his own will? Do you think he has kidney stones the day of? Let me know, guys. I'm still going to the event, though. I'll still be there if you guys want to hang out. Anyway, let's talk about some good news and get on out of here. So Iran has legalized crypto mining. So according to the Iranian government Chamber of Commerce, Industries, Mines and Agriculture, an economic commission approved crypto mining on Sunday, with the government now looking for ways to regulate this activity within its existing legal structure. So that's good news, right, for Iran? Also, this is good news. Tur Demester said charting service TradingView, which is what I use. Literally, if you guys all my charts literally are TradingView. He basically said that it now counts for 2.5 million Bitcoin traders among their monthly users. They are extremely engaged and check in more than 7 times a day on average. Some people say if you're checking 7 times a day, you're doing it wrong. But yeah, so I mean, granted, some people, I don't even know why you'd make 2 accounts, but maybe some people have double accounts. But for the most part, 2.5 unique accounts, all trading cryptocurrency. That definitely shows you the massive interest. By the way, if you guys want to download TradingView, I do have a link below. It's actually free unless you upgrade to the other services. So it's what I use. And also, if you guys were looking to get the market cipher, actually, you don't need to upgrade to the Pro for that, because I think Pro is more than 5 indicators. I don't remember. Long story short, congratulations to the TradingView people. Some quick crypto news. Vechain with the government of the Republic of San Marino and DNVGL has recently had an MOU. So basically, this is going to develop a blockchain-based innovation ecosystem dubbed the San Marino Low Carbon Ecosystem. We also have some good news from Icon. The ICONLOOP has announced the launch of DPASS, which is a blockchain-based self-sovereign identity authentication service. It stands for Decentralized Passport, DPASS. It's a mobile application, right? So you can store private information, DPASS application, log into various services without entering your private information. In addition, DPASS complies with the DID standards of the worldwide consortium, so allowing for a greater possibility of service expansion. Enhanced security, and is also guaranteed as all private information, including private keys for cryptocurrency wallets, are stored in a decentralized manner. Oh yeah, and MetaMask is coming to mobile. Yes, awesome. All right, guys, so that's it for me today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Yeah, sorry it came out so late today. I had a really hectic morning, but you guys know I'll never leave you hanging. I'll always try to bring you an update. Always try to let you know exactly what's going on. And currently, we are very, very, very indecisive at this 55 EMA on the daily. So, yeah, I guess we'll know. We'll know. You might even know by the time this video is out whether or not we've fallen below it. And if we do, then I told you guys the support is definitely on this level, or worst case, yeah, down to the $8,000 level, but I don't think we'll go lower than that. But that being said, I don't want to end the video on a bad note. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. If this is your first time checking out, definitely get subscribed. I do this every single day. I love you guys. I love the community. Feel free to join the Telegram group. Absolutely free. Honestly, it's just a place to hang out, joke around. Don't take yourself too seriously. You know, you go crazy if you take these charts seriously, right? And yeah, you guys know Ledger Nano S every single Monday. Drop a comment below. And if you guys want, I do have plenty of links below for ledgers and everything else. You guys know they help the channel out, but I don't really